G'day everyone, Lucas here from the Aussie Gamers Experience, and today I have a video all about thermals. Alright, this video is going to be for PC gamers, and I want to just put a disclaimer out there real quick. I am using a Cooler Master thermal gel, testing this one out. They didn't give me this. It's not, I bought this with my own money. They're not a sponsor or an affiliate or anything like that. Also, I'm not a PC expert. I learn everything that I know from watching YouTube videos and searching stuff on the internet. So don't take this as a tutorial or something that you should specifically go out and do. More so just a bit of, light entertainment and I guess some maybe food for thought or a trigger for you to go out there and find out more for yourself and see if something like this might be good for you and your applications. So essentially what I wanted to test out with getting this thermal paste is to see if it was worth paying the extra money for something like this, because I have some cheap little, Arctic Silver and I've got some Cooler Master, cheap little tiny little tubes of thermal paste for my CPUs. I think they came with some past CPUs of mine and I've just been using them. I haven't had any issues with them, but it got me thinking, now that I've just spent a whole lot of money on my brand new PC, is it worth shelling out the extra coin? This was $20 Australian on Amazon. Is it worth buying high-end or so-called high-end thermal paste? So I thought I'd do myself a bit of a solid and just splash the cash, and we'll test it out and see if it's any good. I have done that now. I've ran some thermals on my computer before I changed the paste. I went and changed the paste, and then I ran some more tests and checked the thermals afterwards. The results were very strange. Alright, now so a few of the specs I want to run through with what I'm actually testing is that my CPU is an Intel i9 10900KF. If you're wondering what the KF stands for, K means it's an unlocked CPU, so I can overclock it. F just means that it does not have integrated HD graphics. You do need a discrete video card. A discrete video card is simply just a graphics card, a GPU, like an NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti or an RTX 2080 or any of those series. I personally have an RTX 3080. Also, cooling my CPU is a Gigabyte Aorus Liquid Cooler 360. So it is a water-cooled, oh, I nearly dropped this. It is a water-cooled system using an AIO, which is an all-in-one system. So it's not custom cooled or anything like that. No custom water loops and pumps. It's literally just a radiator with a integrated pump that is just pull it out of the box and it's ready to go. Throw it on there. Alright, so I first did some load tests by using Cinebench R20, and I didn't even think of looking at the idle temps, but I did record them, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. So I went and did basically a stress test with Cinebench R20. I left it run in the vicinity of 15 minutes, and the reason why I left it run so long is it's quite easy to do a quick test and grab your thermals. However, the way water cooling works is that they will cool to a point that all of the water in the loop in the cooler is basically saturated with heat. Once it's fully saturated with heat, it won't cool any lower than that temperature, basically the ambient temperature of the room that you're in. Also, I am in a temperature controlled environment. I do have air conditioning running, keeping the room at a stable sort of 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit will be up in the screen because I don't know what that is. So I did run Cinebench R20 for around 15 minutes, and my peak temperature was 84 degrees C. And that was pretty normal, something that I would have expected because I have been running this PC like that for a little while. So I also, like I said, I didn't really take too much notice of it because I wasn't really interested in it, but my idle temperatures were about 43 degrees C as well, but that'll be important later. So let's go and change out the thermal paste for the Master Gel Maker from Cooler Master, and we'll see if it's any better. So the thermal paste has been, well, let's say upgraded to the really expensive Master Gel Maker, and from putting this paste on my CPU, I've got to say I'm not a fan of this like wide application mouth of this plunger. It may be good for some people, gives you a nice wide application, but for me, I'm used to knowing how much I'm putting down onto my IHS, or the integrated heat spreader, on the CPU by putting just a blob on there. So you use the green pea method or something like that, or the grain of rice. Whereas this, it's like a big, long, flat application, so it was hard to work out. So I think I did over-apply it a little bit, but I did take a little bit off at the end because it was too much. But anyway, went back to the computer, set it all up again, and ran Cinebench R20 again for another 15 minutes to get the heat soak going. And the temperatures that came back were higher. So with this one, this expensive thermal paste, it peaked at 89 degrees C. And I was a little bit disappointed by that and thought, you know, maybe that is just margin of error. These things are, you know, temperamental at the best of times, and sometimes they just do their own thing. Who knows? So I turned off the test, finished it up, and as I was sort of just mucking around with the video files that are on my phone that I wanted to transfer over, I noticed something interesting. While the computer was sitting idle, the temperature dropped drastically. As I said before, the idle temperature with the old thermal paste was about 43 degrees C. What I noticed with the Master Gel Maker Gel thermal paste in there is when it was idled for probably about 5 minutes, the temperature dropped all the way down to 34 degrees C. Although I didn't get the results that I was hoping for with the high end under load, it was still reasonable. 89 degrees under a full 100% CPU load. That's pretty good, 89, and especially for a 10900K, they're known as hot CPUs. So 89 degrees, or what was it? 89 degrees isn't that bad. So I mean, like, I can deal with it. It's not terrible. However, the idle temperatures, now that's important because my computer will idle in its lifetime a lot longer than it will ever be used at 100% CPU utilization. So dropping, what's that, 9 degrees C in idle, that's actually pretty good. This stuff I found is actually overall a better solution. It may not work as good at the high end. It is a little bit hotter for some reason that I don't understand. However, general application, this thing is working a lot better. I can tell you now, although my computer isn't really doing too much other than recording using my webcam here and my microphone, I can see the temperature on the display out there. It's 39 degrees C. It's jumping up between 38 and 39 degrees C. That's still cooler than my previous idle temperatures. Did something change along the way? I haven't changed the fan curves. The fan curves have been left 100% the same for each occasion. I haven't changed them at all. And this is what we're getting. We're getting much cooler temperatures. So do I recommend this? Well, I mean, from my experience, I have to say yes. I don't know if the same thing would have happened had I just reapplied the same gel from before. I've got to mention as well that previous thermal paste had only been installed probably a month prior, so it's not like a couple of years old and just needed fresh paste or anything like that. It was still fairly fresh. But this stuff, they do claim that it won't set. It doesn't set, it doesn't dry, shouldn't dry out, which is pretty important, and long lasting as well. Look, I don't know, it's 20 bucks. It is expensive for thermal paste and how much you actually need. However, $20 for something that may make your PC run cooler, I think 20 bucks is a pretty fair ask. But, you know, you make up your own minds. But that's all I have for this video, as I just want to reiterate again, I may have said some things wrong in this video. I'm just a bit of an enthusiast. I'm not an expert when it comes to PC componentry and how it all works. However, I do enjoy tinkering around with it. And I thought I'd make a video, and if at best this video sparks some ideas in you guys watching this, then happy days. That's a good result for me, and for you maybe. So that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for checking out this video. If you like video game related stuff, check out the Aussie Gamers Experience podcast. It's available weekly. It's released every Sunday, except for when it's not. I am Lucas, and until next time, I will see ya!